The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Have you ever considered a career playing the role of a terrorist? Yeah, me neither. But apparently it can be a thing as Amber and Scott discuss Atropia. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
So what do you get when you cross Saving Private Ryan with The Truman Show?
That's actually a really spot-on comparison. Good job there, Scott.
Thank you.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cinema IRL. This episode, we're talking about Atropia. In a massive California desert simulation called Atropia, struggling actors play Iraqi citizens for U.S. soldiers in training. When an actress falls for a veteran playing an insurgent, the fake war begins to have very real consequences.
Yeah. It took me a little while to fully understand what was going on. And by a little while, I mean, I still haven't quite completely gotten there.
What do you mean?
I mean, mostly.
What's confusing? I mean, these people are basically hired actors to simulate whatever village that the United States happens to be at war with during the time, and the actors portray village people and government officials, and the military is sent in to try and adapt to the culture and win the war.
But it was weird because I didn't know when people were acting or when they were being real.
Okay.
Like you go from casting to a jihad.
I'm sorry, Scott, I'm not following here.
They would go and talk to people about their roles and the various roles they were going to play, but This is supposed to be like a 24/7 thing.
Well, yeah, but they have breaks between takes when explosives don't go off, and I mean it's a production.
Well, it's a production, but it's training, I thought.
Well, I don't know. Take it up with the military.
I don't
there
know.
was a general there. You can speak to the general.
I don't know, man. I didn't know when they were on or when they were off.
I thought it was pretty obvious. They were just talking like normal people when they were off, and they were a bread baker or a militant or a mustard gas scientist or whatever when they were on.
Well, they kind of went from a Thanksgiving Day massacre to banging in a porta-potty, and
Well, that was pretty obvious. The massacre of all of the military was part of the simulation. The getting it on in the porta potty was just two actors getting it on in a porta potty. Okay.
Is this like a giant game of red light, green light?
I don't know. Okay, so let's go ahead and dig into some what would you do's. So what would you do if you were an aspiring actress like our lead character Fayrouz was, and she had a role here in the simulation, this city, but she didn't just see this as a job, as the other people who were like, I'm the bread baker for the day, I'm the person getting married for the day. But she was like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to use this to leverage my acting skills. And boy, when she got shot or she got captured, ooh, we brought some A-level acting to it. And
I don't know if it was A-level, but it was A attempted level.
So what would you do if you had that opportunity where you weren't just there for the paycheck, but you were using this as an opportunity to showcase your acting skills?
Well, I mean, if you're using this to showcase your acting skills, you're basically in the wrong place because Channing Tatum isn't there every day.
Yeah, Channing Tatum basically had a little cameo there as he was an actor.
That was a funny cameo, too, when she does things and they start repeating it.
Yeah, so he drops in to just get inspiration of what it would be like to be in a village that is under attack. And so he drops in for a while. And she sees it as an opportunity of like, hey, I can get some exposure in front of a real actor, and that actor is going to be impressed with me and then get me acting gigs. Which doesn't happen in that moment. But if you stick around till after the credits, I don't know, maybe she was right.
You do see some things.
Yeah. So would you, I understand what you're saying is that's not primarily your audience, but it's still an opportunity to hone your craft. So I would say anything worth doing is worth doing right.
Oh, no,
I would
I do
probably
agree with that.
I would probably not phone it in. I'd probably, it was like, this is just everyday acting class for me to get better.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I'm out there and you want me to role play and you're paying me to do it, I'm going to role play, and I'll role play seriously because that's what your job is. But if I'm going out there to role play, I'm doing it for the paycheck, not thinking that I'm going to get discovered that way.
Yeah. So ultimately, Fayrouz falls a little bit into a romantic interest with Abu Dice, who is an actual military officer who is there to help with this training operation. And he is portraying one of the village citizens, but he also has all kinds of insight from having actually fought in Iraq. And there's a little sexual tension with them. And
A little?
which ultimately ends up in the aforementioned porta-potty. So we eventually, and I'm going to jump a little ahead here, eventually discover that when they have a Thanksgiving meal for all the cast to get together, that he's married and has a kid and conveniently left that out. What would you do if you were Fayrouz and you had just gotten some porta-potty action with him and then all of a sudden you see his wife and his kid shortly thereafter?
I mean, scummy, but I mean, she certainly didn't do anything wrong.
She did not. Yeah, that's but here's where the what would you do gets a little stickier. At first she seems upset, but then she seems to get over it fairly quickly and wants another round of porta-potty after a mock scene of wedding, because her character is linked with Abu Dice, his character, and there is a mock wedding as part of the simulation, and she seems all too eager to just kind of pick up where they left off.
Morals are subjective? That's
I-
pretty much what I'm going to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're upset, you get over it if you want some, I guess.
Yikes. Yeah, I mean, not my thing. But you do you, girl.
So one of the things that's interesting in the storyline here is, so we have, and forgive me if I get the title wrong, I don't know if it was a sergeant or a captain, but basically was trying to make one of the soldiers more accountable. And he gave him a plant and said, you got to take this plant with you everywhere. You do not let anything happen to this plant. This plant does not die. And so you see these scenes of them running around doing things, and he's carrying this plant. What would you do? I got to say, if I was in some sort of leadership position and could institute a little lesson like that, that's kind of like when you're in grade school and you have isn't it egg? What is it you're supposed to take care of? What did they give you in public schools when they want you to take care of something?
The baby, like a bag of flour or
flour. Yes, I didn't do that as a kid. No one made me babysit flour. But yeah,
no one impregnated your.
I went to
something?
parochial school. We did not fake pregnancies.
Oh, you just had them for real.
No. So what would you do if you were the sergeant or the captain and you had someone in your troop who was just kind of calling it in and needed some accountability? Because this is meant to be training to get these people prepared to be in actual war situations.
Yeah, I get it. That's not the answer. You don't have them carry a plant around. I mean, it just makes a mockery of it all. Like, this soldier is carrying a plant around. It just literally tells everyone this isn't serious. And I thought that was a horrible thing on the instructor to do that.
What should he have done instead? What would you do?
I mean, there's the good old-fashioned drop and give me 20 type thing. You do other things, but like when you're out there, you're simulating a 24/7 war.
Okay.
And
so you'd stick with the simulation.
I've seen a fair amount of footage in my life of people in actual war zones, and I have never once seen a soldier carrying around a plant.
Okay. No, duly noted.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are definitely ways of getting his attention, but that was dumb.
So another part of this film shows the state of the actors in this simulated village, of the fact that although they do have breaks, like you were talking about 24/7, they are still living under the conditions of a village. Like, for example, they're not getting baths. They don't get special food. You find who's frequently negotiating with people for information and giving them cigarettes. So they are definitely living in a somewhat deprived state in this simulated village.
I mean, cigarettes are usually only a currency in prison.
Yeah, but if you can't leave the base or this desert compound to, I don't know, get some burgers or nachos or cigarettes or Slurpee, you got to trade what you got to trade.
Well, where'd the Dice Man get a wading pool and a bunch of water?
Yeah, I don't know. He was influential, for sure. So were there any what would you do's that popped out for you?
But I think we've already covered probably what would be my biggest one, having to do with if you're really wanting to be an actor, and that's really your thing, you're not going to take a job in the middle of the desert where very few people are going to see you. That just
But listen, you should know just as well as I do that aspiring actors take work when and where they can get it.
Well, if you're doing it for a paycheck.
Yeah, they were getting paid. It wasn't volunteer.
I mean, like, the reason you're doing it is the paycheck, not she. For her, the paycheck seemed like it was secondary to trying to break into acting somehow.
Breaking into acting by acting?
Well, breaking into, like, big time, like getting discovered.
Yeah, it's certainly not the Derby or Frank and Russo's or any of those places that traditional Hollywood places where people used to get discovered, or you have some actors in the past who have been waiters or waitresses or sometimes even dog walkers and gotten discovered. But this gal she wasn't traditional Hollywood beautiful, so it makes sense that she was trying to showcase her dramatic skills. I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right. You can certainly try and find a play or something like that to do. But this was also a cause that interested her. And I use the word cause very lightly. But she was Iraqi. And this felt meaningful to her to play this role as an Iraqi villager.
But she didn't always play it seriously. Like when they were supposed to capture the mustard gas person, and she's basically telling one of the soldiers, hey, I'm up here, come get me.
Well, the reason she did that is because she wanted to get drugged down in front of the actor, which was Channing Tatum, and get discovered.
Well,
That's why.
I know why she did it.
Well, that seems like taking acting seriously then, if you're trying to actually get in front of the person who can actually make it happen for you.
I mean, if she was out there because it paid well and she was using it more as a way of refining her skills rather than trying to be actively discovered, I can go with that because, I mean, that would definitely be like a boot camp for method acting. So
what would you do is you would just do auditions until you got a traditional acting job?
Well, again, I don't know what her finances were, and maybe this is one of those things like if she's out there and she does it for 6 months, it covers like a year's worth of expenses, so then she can spend 6 months out there actually auditioning and not having to worry about money.
The one important thing here that is being left out of the conversation is that Faye is pregnant, and she is hiding.
Is that going to be a problem?
That certainly limits you if you're going to audition for a play and the character might not be pregnant, and then you're going to no longer be available to fill your role for a period of time at the end part of your pregnancy.
No, when she was being cleaned like a dish.
Dirty dish. And she lifts her dress or whatever, and he looks at her stomach and she just says, is that going to be a problem? Right.
That's why I said, is that going to be a problem?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, how about you?
Okay.
What moment or moments would have stuck out to you as a what would you do moment?
Well, I definitely appreciated Feyrouz's determination to swap with people to get information and get roles that got her highlighted, and to be the mole to disclose information to the military so she could get dragged out into the square and get some acting time in front of Channing Tatum. So I would like to think I would hustle as much as Feyrouz did to make the most of the opportunity. That said, they don't get to shower. They don't get any real food. This is definitely an environment where you're going to feel beaten down and probably not your best self. And I would imagine over time of living in this village, actually similar to the life of a villager, because, you know, they're not eating great. And I would imagine that it takes a lot of determination to summon your best self for this daily acting when you're actually feeling kind of depleted living in this simulated village.
Yeah, it needed to be very high paying because it was a pain.
I would like to think that the military paid them well, but I have a funny feeling that they pay a lot for the project and probably very little for the people who were the villagers.
No, I mean, I think you're going to have to pay a lot. It seemed like they didn't have a problem since they were having sushi flown in from Las Vegas.
Those weren't the actors. Those were the people in charge.
Well, yeah, but they kept saying we have to spend the money so we have the budget for next time.
Yes, and that sushi didn't get to the actors. It got to the people in charge.
Well, yeah.
That's precisely.
They weren't buying sushi for everyone.
That's precisely my point, is I'm sure the project got a lot of money, but the people who were actually playing the actors and the villagers probably didn't.
I mean, I feel like they had to, or else you're not going to get people to come out there. Hey, come out to, we'll pay you minimum wage. You're going to live in a dirty village 24/7 and have to always be on.
I don't know what it pays.
Yeah, no, it's...
So, any final thoughts on Atropia?
Yeah. If
Yeah. Okay, go for it. That's what we're here for.
If somehow the smell of human waste and sewer makes you get hard, you need to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist or somebody, because that's not normal.
Well, you're talking about war conditions. Of course it's not normal when someone is in a actual war and the only private time they can get is in some sort of porta-potty or something like that, and that's where they get the time to pleasure themselves. I mean, it's not totally random. It kind of makes sense. Obviously something you should work through, because after you're out of the actively serving, you don't want that to be your aphrodisiac, is the smell of a porta-potty. But given the context, it makes sense, doesn't it?
I'll find other places to jerk off.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.